Okay, so we're going to start our face by mapping it out first to get the basic shape, placement of the eyes, placement of the nose, mouth, things like that. And then once you've got those placed, we'll just go through and refine the shapes of everything. But really all you need to focus on is a nice line drawing. Don't worry about all the intricate details. Just get the basic shapes. So once you got the basic shapes, you'll be able to start filling things in. So next thing I'm going to do is mix up some paint. So what I do is going to do 50% yellow, 50% red, and then an equal part of white, mix it together to get kind of a skin tone. And then once I mix up that skin tone, I'm going to block in the whole face with this skin tone that I made. And I might leave some little gaps in some areas where I want to be able to still see where some of my lines are. Now what I'm going to do is mix a little bit of white in that skin tone, make it brighter, and then I'm going to create some highlights. So when I add some highlights, after I add the highlight, I go back with just the regular skin tone and blend the edges, so then I get a smoother transition from the light into the regular skin tone. So whenever you add highlights, always take a step back with the original color to blend the edges. Alright, so then I'll mix a little bit of black into that color, start to create the shadows. And just like I did with the highlights, once I add some shadows, I take a step back with the plain skin tone, and then I blend the edges, so then I get a smoother shadow going down on my face there to make things a little nicer, smoother transition. So then, you give your face some nice shape. So you don't want it to look flat. You want to see some of the highlights, some of the shadows, and that will round out the shape of your portrait. So just look where the highlights are, look where the shadows are, and just blend those in. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of black and darken some of these areas, make some of these shadows a little bit darker because I need a little more contrast in my picture. So blend a little bit more black to create some darker contrasts. Okay, so now I'm going to do my lips. So I'm going to mix a little bit of red, a little extra red into that skin color, so I give my lips more of a reddish hue. Not like I'm wearing lipstick, but just so it's a little more reddish. Alright, so we'll work on the eyes. We'll start by filling in the white part of the eyes and then do my eye color. So I'm going to do my eyes green and make some little flecks of highlights to give us some texture. Add a couple pupils and little white highlights in the center of the eyes to make them a little more glossy. I'll go around the edge with a thin brush to kind of show where the eyelashes are. And add a little more contrast. Show my eyelids, some of my eyelashes, and some of these smaller details to make the eyes a little more popping. Alright, so now let's go ahead and start filling in my hair. So I'm going to do a block of color. So whatever color the hair is that you're doing, just use that as kind of your base. And then fill everything in with that base coat of color. Now once I've got the base coat, I'm going to go and start adding some texture and some darker values. So use my smaller brush. Show a little more of the hair texture through the hair and give it a little more depth, a little more form all throughout here. And add a few more shadows. Add a few highlights in the hair to make it a little more shiny. And add some other little wispies growing out here and there so you can see where the hair is actually growing out of the head and not just sitting there. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and fill in the clothes. I'll just fill the clothes in with a base of color for whatever color you're painting the clothes. And then I'll add some highlights with some white and blend that in so you can see some of the folds and layers on the clothes, so the clothes don't look flat but they have some shape to them. And I'll take a little bit of black and add some shadows to give a little more form to the shirt as well. Then I'll just fill in the background with just a wash of color. Whatever you want to do for the background doesn't matter. I'm just trying to use up some of the extra paint I had, so I blended it all together, and now I'm just going to fill in the background with this blending of muddy paints just to fill it in and use up some of my paints. And I'll go through and touch up some of these edges, show some of this hair sweeping over the background, touch up the air, and then we're good to go. So you choose whoever it is you want to do for your portrait. Just head and shoulders, that's all you need. Make sure your face is balanced and proportional, and then that's all you gotta do.